Good evening, everybody. If you've been following us along on Facebook on the Divrsion Treasure Hunt, you already know who I am. My name's Travis Leonard, for those who don't know me. And for those who have been following along, I'm the guy who knows where every chest is, but walks over every chest. So really, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But here we are tonight, going over our first video clue for chest number 1, the long-awaited alien-hunted, alien-hid chest 1. I even have notes here, because I've been searching for this chest 1 for 9 months now, and I've logged over 50 miles, at least 50 miles, at the community center, which is where it is confirmed. So for those that are new, chest 1 is at the community center, the Community Harrison Community Center. There's no other community center, it's at the community center. So, before we get into the very new clue, I'm going to recap what we know already. The very first clue: with walkers and riders and a bark of a dog, search for the goods, I sleep like a log. Hidden I am, but not far out of reach. Take only the chest and go in peace. For those, you will know that I'm a big fan of the senior center down there. They're not a fan of me, but if you can get into the senior center, my very first idea was walkers and riders. All the elderlies walking around with walkers, getting pushed around with wheelchairs, walkers and riders. Very quickly I learned we're not allowed in there, so it's not in there. Second of all, a bark of a dog. We all thought it was the whatever tree, the dogwood tree. We know now it's not a dogwood tree, so don't even worry about any dogwood trees going out and finding a dogwood tree. Search for the goods. We know there's a Goodwill, so we kind of think it's by the Goodwill building up into the woods, but maybe not. Sleep like a log. There's the dog park and all of the pile of logs, which is now dispersed, so there's not even a pile of logs there. So I'm not sure if we can take that as a pile of logs or if it just means it's laying on the ground like a log. Hidden I am, but not far out of reach. I think that goes back to, remember, this is chest 1. So the original clues were meant to give us an idea that it's not far off of a trail. So that whether that's a foot, 2 feet, up to 10 feet, not too far off a trail. I think that's what that's telling us. Not far out of reach, but you're not going to be able to see it just walking by. Take only the chest and go in peace. This is where I think people are stumbling, because it says take only the chest and go in peace. Does that mean there's multiple things that you can take other than the chest? Go in peace. I know we have a further clue that talks about a symbol of peace. We'll get to that later. I know a lot of people aren't happy about that one. But I think it's literally just means don't mess with nature. Don't do anything. Don't mess with the other hikers. Just, you're there to find the chest, and then get out of there. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at with that for the very first clue. So after the original clue, the second clue that came out, and this was all before we knew that it was at the community center still, it was a location where a person can ride something, especially a scooter, bicycle, skateboard, or unicycle. So that right there always flustered me, because I came in a little bit late, so these two clues were already out, so I didn't realize it was at the community center yet. I came in when it was already announced, I came in when it was already announced that it was at the community center. So I already knew that it was there, but this clue came out before it was well known. So something that you can walk, scooter, bicycle, skateboard, and unicycle. If you go to the skate park, it says you can't ride scooters, bicycles, and all that stuff, but you can skateboard. But I know during the parade there are unicycles. A lot of kids take their bikes to get to the park. There's plenty of walkers there. You got the trail that goes around. So I think this clue is literally meant just to get us to the community center. And this was put out right before it was actually announced that it's at the community center. So I think we know that it's at a community center, so we can just scrape out this part of the clue. I don't think it helps us anymore now that we know that we're at the community center. The second additional clue that we received after knowing that it's at the community center, despite what a lot of people thought, that it was a lie, that it's not at the community center, it's still at the community center. The second additional clue was, after I am claimed, a symbol of peace will be seen in the distance. This one got everybody all up in a hot and bother, because there's 3 churches that you can see, from the trails. Some people don't associate with church as peace, but I don't think there's a greater symbol than peace as a church. Whatever your religious beliefs are, whatever movie you're watching, you're not allowed having weapons in there. It's always a symbol of peace. So I think it's safe to say that a church is a symbol of peace. So, and the main church that you can see is the Church of Nazarene, straight across from the skate park. And if everything leads us to the skate park, straight across from the skate park, a little diagonal, is the Church of Nazarene. So that's one church. The other church is if you're up on the upper soccer fields, there's a old church. I don't even know if it's still a church up on Harrison Avenue, but I believe it once was a church that you can see up there. So that's the main symbols of peace from my eyes. The other ones are a white pine tree. So if you look up symbols of peace in nature, I had this huge theory for about 3 months. I went searching for every white pine tree. I don't know, what is it, a botanist? What are those called? Tree people? Anyway, I was trying to learn every single pine tree difference, and there's not a whole lot of white pines throughout the woods at the community center. There's only like 5 or 6 that you can see, and the 3 main ones are on the very upper back middle of the trail where the old teepee was that was torn down. If you look over, there's a little pond, a couple clusters of houses. There's a couple tall white pines there. Now, I may be going out in left field on this, but, the folks at Divrsion have sent us to left field trying to find this darn clue. So, white pine tree, that's what I think a symbol of peace is also. Other traditional ones are a dove and an olive branch, but we were thinking maybe you could see one in the church, maybe at the community center, in one of the windows you would be able to see a dove and an olive branch, but none that I can really find. Then you have the other traditional symbols, which is the Y, the peace Y sign, which you could say there's a couple forks in the road where if you were to find the chest and keep walking, you'll now see the symbol of peace because you find the chest here and you can go left or right. So that's kind of the Y symbol of peace. The other symbol of peace would be the Y with the line going straight through it. So I don't think there's any really 4-way symbols up there, but I know there's definitely at least 3 spots where if you were to find the chest, you now have a fork in the road going left to right. So that would be a symbol of peace. So those are my ideas on the symbol of peace. If you got any, I know there's a couple people that are talking about the broken chains, the locks. There's the house across from the dog park that has the broken chains on them, that's symbol of peace. But again, that's not in the community center and that's not really on a trail, so I wouldn't bother with those. So that's my ideas on symbol of peace. If you got anything else, just comment below. Let us know what you think. So before we get into clue number 3 for chest 1, back to the peace symbol or finding a symbol of peace. If you remember, this all came about to kind of get us active. It was part of the winter, going into winter. We want to stay active, so it's not going to be somewhere, right at the front of the parking lot. It's not going to be at the front door of the community center. So if you think about the back right where chest 3 was found, the back ball field's there, the trail that goes up the hill and then connects to the rest of the trails up there. I really think it's somewhere along there, but during the winter, when there's no leaves and it's nice and barren out there, you can see the Church of Nazarene from those high steps. So when I go out there hiking, I try to hike around and see symbols. If I can't see a symbol, I just keep on walking. And that kind of takes us to clue number 3, which we're just going to breeze by because a bark of a dog does not equal dogwood. I don't know how many people punched their computer when they saw this clue come out because we know a flipping dog doesn't equal a dogwood, and that's all I have to say about the bark. So completely forget about the bark. But going back to the original clue about a bark of a dog, there's a couple main dog areas. There's the main dog park, but again, I don't think it's going to be at the entrance. The dog park's at the entrance, so I don't think it's going to be that close where all the cars are. Really compact area. Then there's the dog over on the opposite side of the skate park. There's the sign that says beware of dog. But those bushes in that fence line I think is a little bit further than 10 feet. And there's 15,000 people, 15,000 treasure hunters that have searched right by there. So I don't think it's going to be over there by the Church of Nazarene in that little bush area. So now that leaves us with our third dog, bark of a dog area, which would be up on the soccer fields, the upper part of the soccer fields. There's that little yappy white dog that whenever you walk by it starts barking. That's kind of thinking a little bit outside of the box because I don't think it's actually by a barking dog. Again, I think that's the very first clue. That was just meant to get us to the community center before we actually knew it was at the community center. So that's the bark of the dog. Going into clue 4, which is the brand new clue. So on to the very long awaited, brand new, never heard before clue about chest 1. But first I want to talk about what is similar to all the other chests, all the other clues, because you got to remember the same people are hiding the same chest, so their clues are going to run together a little bit, the same general theories. So a couple things I want to think about. When chest 2 was found, it said, chest 2's clue, take only the chest and perhaps get some rest. Get some rest to me always means get some rest by a bench. Chest 4, out at Hickory, I think it's going to be by a bench somewhere, but we'll get to that chest 4 later. Chest 3, when you had to jump, rest, turn left, jump, rest, it was by a bench. You had to pass benches. So I think get some rest would be a bench. So that's leading into this very next clue here I'm going to give you. But go back to chest 3. In a place you'd least expect me. This was when chest 1 was confirmed at community center. Chest 2 was already found at Willow. So chest 3, we didn't expect to go right back to the community center. So if you're thinking about chest 1, in a place you'd least expect me, that's where chest 3 was. So maybe chest 1 is somewhere right by chest 3. Like literally next door. So if you go up the ball fields, turn right up on my famous hog head. If you haven't seen the hog head, go up that tree, go up that trail on the right. There's a big old tree with a knot in it that looks just like a boar's head. So again, that's just my take on kind of mashing some clues together. But here's what you're waiting for. The newest clue for chest 1. It reads, if I can find it, a break from the hustle and bustle would be nice. So I'll repeat. A break from the hustle and bustle would be nice. So the first thing in my mind, hustle and bustle. It's a park. There's baseball fields. There's soccer fields. The hustle and bustle is sports, kids running around. You got the walkers, the hikers, whole lot of movement. So I'm thinking a break from that, like get away from that. So like over, again, by the benches. And there's all kinds of benches along the trails, especially up by the old teepee, where I think I'm still set on by the old teepee that was torn down, by the little pond. There's 2 sets of benches there, a whole lot of zigzags. We've known the past chests that have been found have been kind of by intersections, so you can either go left or right or at the point of an intersection, maybe the symbol of peace. There's a lot of like little turns up there. So that's immediately where my head goes, by another bench. But I've looked around a lot of benches, can't find anything. I've looked around a lot of things, can't find much. So going back, a break from the hustle and bustle would be nice. Way out in left field, I looked up what a bustle is. And a bustle, the old Western movies, you see the ladies with the giant dresses, the thing that held up the dress off their butts, that's a bustle. So I have no idea how that would relate to a chest, but I don't know how these people think. We haven't found chest 1. The aliens have it. The aliens don't know how they think. So a bustle, who knows? Maybe there's something along the bench, and that's why the bustle has to do with the bench, to sit there and rest. But that's, again, way out in left field. So I wouldn't spend too much time looking up to see what a bustle is. I don't even know if you want to go there and Google, but just saying what an actual bustle is. So a break from the hustle and bustle would be nice. I think it's getting away from the soccer field, getting away from the hustle and bustle, but that's from the point of me. So I don't know. Let us know what you think, and let's all find the chest 1. I'm heading out right now. It's 9 o'clock at night? Let's go out. I'll meet you at the community center. Let's find that flipping chest 1. But if we can get 5,000 views, share it, tell all your friends, family, everybody that you know, 5,000 views out of the 10,000 plus people that we have on Facebook, we're going to help out with this clue. At least I was promised we're going to help out and kind of further explain this clue on kind of what he's looking for, or they are looking for. All right, so spread the word, subscribe, and hit that like button. And thanks everybody for watching, taking your time out of the day, helping out Divrsion and all the small businesses around Harrison and around the city. And take all this with a grain of salt, because even though I've been searching for 9 months, I haven't found anything. So these mean nothing.